So, with this being a little bit of a different episode for us on Friday Night Review, I have decided to cut the regular intro. Tonight, we have one major focus, and that is the NFL. How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing fantastic, man.
Man, I'm
That time
ecstatic.
the other show's not happening now, so
Oh, cool. Okay, then let's talk. Let's talk.
So we got Super Wildcard Weekend kicking off tomorrow afternoon, and the first game of Super Wildcard Weekend coming tomorrow is the Browns at the Texans. You got the rookie C.J. Stroud ahead of the Texans, and of course the veteran Joe Flacco with the Browns. So what do we think, guys? Who do we think is taking this game?
Man, I'll say this is a hard one for me because I've liked the Texans since they've been in the league in 2002. They're like my AFC team. Like if the Eagles aren't in the playoffs and the Texans are, I'm rooting for the Texans. You know, they're like my team that I keep my eye on, and I'm rooting for them to do good things. The Browns, though, I've been saying it for the past 2 years. The Browns are on the up. The Browns, Lions, and Jets were the three teams I kept saying for the past 2 years that they were on the up.
that
This is definitely my game of the weekend. It is my game of the weekend, and I'm highly excited to see this ball game. I think, though, the Browns are seeing a lot of injuries right now.
Cooper Cup is not Cooper Cup.
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper is back.
Okay, because earlier I heard that he was they haven't decided anything yet, so they must have just made that announcement not too long ago that he's back.
Oh, he returned back to practice on Tuesday, so I would assume if he's returning back, why would he not be playing?
But he wasn't, as far as I was hearing, he wasn't doing much of anything at practice. He was there, but he wasn't doing much of anything. But I know they took a hit on the defensive side of the ball as well. I'm definitely going Texans on this one. I think the Texans are going to win this game.
Jamey?
So I'm going to jump over Jamey on this one.
Yeah.
I don't like the disrespect that the Texans are getting.
Yes.
They are not. They are the home team, and they're the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
You have the top rookie QB, who potentially will be the rookie of the year,
No doubt.
and no one is putting any respect on his name. This guy was unbelievable until he got injured early in this season, and it took him some time to come back. And he showed that last week. If they get Tank Dell back this week, and I haven't checked on his status, they will be unstoppable between Dell and Nico Collins. So even without Dell, though, I give them a good chance, and I have them winning this game.
Jamey?
I definitely think the Browns, they did something that most people can't do. You bring in a guy like Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is a great quarterback. Not elite, though. And, they peaked. I think they peaked a little too early. But they did peak at the right time to get to the playoffs. You got the rookie of the year, and you got the coach of the year, D'Amico Ryans. I think what he's done, that team, to turn around from last in the division to winning the division and being in the playoffs. I think the Texans have the edge here. And the Texans are young. They have the fire. They want it a lot more. And definitely got a chip on them shoulders. So it's going to be a hellacious game. It's going to be great. It's going to be electric. But I think the Texans got this one.
I just looked up Tank Dell's injury. He won't be back. He's done. He broke his leg.
Nico Collins back though last week, and Nico had
and that was and it made a big difference for that team right away.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say this game's gonna come down to one thing, and that's just experience. And Joe Flacco's been there. He's been to championships. He's been to the playoffs. And I think it's going to come down to experience. I think he's going to play his heart out in this game. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. I I will say though, I feel like a part of me is kind of rooting for CJ Stroud. I mean, it would be a Cinderella story of sorts to have a rookie come in there, beat the veteran, in advance. This is Texas' first time being in the playoffs since 2019, I believe. So that would be an interesting story if they can pull off a win against the Browns. But I'm going with the experience here, Joe Flacco and the Browns. So that's what I'm picking.
It's a safe pick.
But next we have the 8 p.m. primetime game, and that is the Dolphins at the Chiefs. What do we think, guys? Who would we have, Dolphins or the Chiefs?
So let's talk about the elephant in the room on this game. What the hell was the NFL thinking putting it exclusively on Peacock?
Oh, I don't know.
It's their new it's their new partnership with them. I think what they're doing, because I mean they're on Prime, and next season I think, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard something about that they were losing one of the broadcasting places, either Fox or CBS. One of them.
Fox.
I don't think that's true yet.
But
if it's true, I bet it's Fox. If I had to guess.
But I know they've shown games on Peacock the past couple weeks. There have been a couple games on there. I mean, another game that's going to be very, very interesting. And the weather that's going to be in Kansas, I mean, it's going to be in the negatives in Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I feel it.
Right now, tickets for that game, all the way up in the upper level, are as low as, I believe, $28.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. $28 or $29 for a ticket in the upper part. You move down a little bit, it's $44. I believe downfield level is like $100 or $125 for a ticket. They don't expect, they're literally advising people to stay home. They don't expect a lot of people in that stadium. They don't. But if you've ever experienced an NFL game, if you go into a jam-packed stadium and you're closer to the field, it's warmer. It is a little warmer. But it's going to be in the negatives. And that's going to be a huge effect, not only on the players, but the ball. That ball is going to harden up real quick. I don't see it being a high-scoring one. And the Dolphins, I mean, they're hurting right now. I mean,
oh my God,
yeah, really. I mean, their linebackers, they had to go out and pick up 3 guys for their linebacker position. 3 guys, and not only that, Tyreek. I mean, he's been walking around with a boot on for the past couple of days. So, I mean, I see Kansas City walking out with this one. Not a high-scoring game, probably by 3 points. I see a field goal win.
Yeah, 3-0, because nothing else is going to happen on this field.
Yeah.
The people in the stands, if they stay there too long, they're going to get frostbite.
Yeah.
That's how cold it's going to be. Like, this game should have been moved to a different stadium. Or they need to move the date of this game, because they're putting both the players and the fans at risk.
Yeah. Well, they the thing is too is they've had games in the past that have been played in these climates, but apparently this is going to be a record-breaking temperature. I think the lowest was like -8 degrees. It's supposed to be like -15 or -16.
Yeah.
So
with the wind chill, it's supposed to be like -30.
It's going to be dangerous. And I've heard fans, like I said, I listen to shows every day, and I've heard fans that call in saying that they're going to the game, they're wearing like 5 layers of, like, those 5 layers are not going to save you. They are not. Like, stay home, watch the game. And I see this game ending very quickly. I don't see this being a 3-hour game. Even halftime, I think, isn't going to be 15 minutes. I think they're going to decrease halftime to maybe like 7 or 8. Get in, get up, get out. That's what they're going to try and do.
Jamey, your thoughts?
My thoughts, man? Kansas City, just because they've been at the facility. They've been kind of acclimated to this weather already. That's especially in the region that we're in, kind of in the same region as Kansas City. And it's been doing this for the past few weeks. Not as cold as the 15, but it's still been pretty damn cold. And Kansas City definitely has the edge on that part because of the facility and they've been there. And as Mike been saying, Dolphins are banged up, and I give the Chiefs the edge on this one.
Scalz?
Like,
Good, Jamie. Finish what you were going to say.
oh no, you're good.
It's the weather that's going to make the difference. Miami is Miami. They're used to playing in the heat. They raise the temperature in the stadium to mimic the heat in Florida to alter how their opponents can play. So this right here, they're going to have a tough time. And then with the injuries as well, it's going to be hard for them to overcome. I have KC winning this and Miami losing. Miami lost their season last week when they lost to Buffalo. They needed to be, or they should have, hold on. They lost when they lost their 3 out of the last 4 games of the season before that.
So
all they had to do essentially was win 1, and they couldn't even do that.
Have you guys watched or seen any videos on Mike McDaniel? Like the type of person that he is?
Yeah.
Okay. I can see him. Are you guys familiar with the show Big Bang Theory?
Yes. Love that show.
Did you ever see? So you've seen the episode where the guys are getting ready to go, the North Pole or whatever, the Arctic, and they go into the Cheesecake Factory's freezer. I can see Mike McDaniel prepping his guys by doing that, sticking them in the freezer, and that's what it's gonna feel like, guys. I can see
Oh man, that's great.
Knowing him, probably.
Yeah.
Because he's just weird like that.
He's quirky.
Yeah.
And you guys
But,
got on
he's
to the
great.
I can honestly see the Chiefs winning this. Unfortunately, I would love to see the Dolphins walk away with this one. But yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you guys had said. Obviously, the weather is going to be a big shock for the Dolphins players, because you guys, like I said, like Scalz had said, they're used to playing in the heat, and like I said, and they're banged up. Their last game against the Bills, you kind of seen them. Their offense was kind of cooking there for a little bit, and then they just kind of kind of slowed down, and their defense was pretty much doing good things, and then they kind of slowed down as well. I think the Bills just wore out the defense, and they just got really tired. And like I said, they just don't have the manpower right now with all the injuries to be able to really compete right now. So that's obviously going to play a factor as well as the weather. So I'm taking the Chiefs on this one. Probably not a high scoring game like Mike said, but yeah, Chiefs probably. So I think all of us are in agreement with the Chiefs beating the Dolphins. Then on Sunday afternoon, we have the Steelers and the Bills. Go ahead, Mike. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I feel like this is going to be a game where we see a lot of turnovers too. That weather's going to play a factor. The ball's going to be hard. It's going to be cold. Like, if anything, fumbles.
The game that we're about to talk about is going to be the same situation.
Same way.
Yes.
Because that shit already has a foot and a half of snow, and there's expected more.
Yes. Record high wins for that game as well. So it's gonna be an ugly game for Steelers Bills. But what do we think, guys? Who are we taking, Steelers or the Bills?
So Buffalo is already in a state of emergency with their weather. There has been talk about the possibility of this game getting moved either to possibility of Monday night, or there was a possibility of them moving it to a stadium as close as Cleveland. There was talk about that. Another game where a lot of fans are literally told, like, don't go, stay home, be safe. Like, we can possibly see 2 playoff games with no fans, like,
at all.
Yeah, we experienced that during COVID and everything. We did. But now we're back into full force, and we could be possibly experiencing that again. I could see literally almost like we got during that time, crowd noise was dubbed in. I could see that happening again if very low or no fans show up. If they stay in Buffalo and they play in this weather, it's going to be another low-scoring game. You can see some turnovers in this game as well. The tough part is this is kind of an even matchup when it comes to playing in weather. because Pittsburgh does see this type of weather.
Hmm.
That's the factor. Is Miami doesn't see this weather, Pittsburgh does. So I still see Buffalo coming out on top of this one. I do. Pittsburgh, they were up and down this year. They had a rough season. Hats off to him for having another winning season because
Somehow.
Tomlin doesn't lose.
I'll say this: they were my pick to win the division this year, and they came close to it at one point of the season. You know, they were in that running.
I don't know about that. I think the Ravens have had a stronghold in that AFC North pretty much the whole year.
I mean, around mid-season, it was a little close, and then the Ravens kind of ran away with it. It was
Fair.
kind of close. But I got Buffalo winning this one. Another low-scoring game, maybe a 6-point game, touchdown splits.
Buffalo's streak at the end of the year has been riding such a high momentum going into this game. I think it's going to be hard for them to be stopped. As much as I like what Pittsburgh has done lately with Mason Rudolph and the integration of Warren into the running game, and then Pickens getting more involved in the passing game with Johnson, like they have been moving the ball, they've been throwing it around, they've been sharing it, moving it everywhere, spreading it around the field. I just think Buffalo at this moment is on such they hit their momentum at the right time, and I feel it's going to carry into this game. Now, the deciding factor could be if they have to play in a different stadium and they go to a neutral field. If that happens, it's a toss-up. It's because there really is no home field advantage there. I mean, Buffalo fans will travel well from Buffalo if they do play Cleveland.
So we're Pittsburgh fans.
But so will Pittsburgh. That's what I was just going to say, because it's like equal distance from both. So it could just make it like almost like a college football type of event. And I think that's going to be pretty fucking cool.
Move it to the Meadowlands.
No. I don't want that. No.
That was
That's
another
too far.
stadium that I thought they might have maybe moved it to, was maybe move it to MetLife because of it being close to New York. But
Yeah.
isn't Cleveland's a little closer, isn't it?
Cleveland is
a lot
closer to the
closer.
two because MetLife is, I would say, about 6 hours from both of the cities.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Too far.
So I got Jamey's snap. He said Bills. So I don't need to ask him. I don't need to ask him.
Bills are
Scalz,
peaking at the right time.
Scalz, you said Bills, right?
Yes.
Okay. So obviously I have a little more to say about this. This is involving one of my teams. So yeah, like Mike had said, we had, you know, another unfortunate roller coaster of a season. You know, it started out decent, then it got really bad. We had a 3-game losing streak, and then they put in Mason Rudolph, and then our fortune started turning around. Now we have we're sitting at 10-7. That's what, the 20th season I think that we had, and that wasn't a losing season. So that's good for us, I suppose. So I definitely like what they're doing right now with Mason Rudolph. My thing is, so I don't know. It's tough because I like what they're doing, and I like the momentum that they have going into this right now. Obviously, the biggest story coming out of this is on defense, because TJ Watt obviously got hurt in the last game of the season, so that's a big hit for our defense. I think the rookie Nick Herbig is filling in for him, which I feel kind of confident about that, just because he's kind of under the learning tree of TJ Watt. But I don't know. I haven't seen a whole lot from him, so I don't know if he's going to be.
You sure JJ
all that
Watt won't
good.
just put on his jersey and come out there?
No, he's already said
They,
he's like, I'm
they,
not.
they
I'm not
brought
doing
that
that.
up on the Pat McAfee show.
There's a lot of stuff that's brought up.
I
on the
highly doubt it,
McAfee show.
because I think TJ was hurt. I think some other time during the season, I think, or something like that, and they had said something. There was a lot of rumors going around about JJ Watt suiting up, whatever. He was like, I'm not going to Pittsburgh. Stop asking me. So I don't think that's happening. That would be great, but I don't think that would happen. That would be amazing. That's like a pipe dream, I think. But that would be amazing if that did happen. But yeah, so Nick Herbig's supposed to fill in for TJ Watt. Fortunately, we are getting back some defensive pieces. We're getting back Damonte Casey, I think is his last name. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. We're getting him back because he was suspended for a couple of games. And then, of course, we are getting back Minka Fitzpatrick. So that's great. So we got that on the defensive end. So I'm liking what they're doing offensively, obviously, and I'm confident in our defense. The reason I have some hope, a sliver of hope that we can beat the Bills is because of the fact that Josh Allen is just so inconsistent. Like 1 minute it's like he's really, really great, and the other minute he's turning the ball over, he's fumbling, he's so those that just that key element right there. I feel like if we can take advantage of that and score just off of that, I think we'll be great. So that's why I'm
he
just like,
has been
I don't know.
turnover happy lately.
Yes. So I mean, he had 3 turnovers against the Bills. So that's why I'm just like, and I feel like the Dolphins would have won that game, but again, the Dolphins are just so banged up. They just don't have the manpower or the energy to be able to take advantage of that kind of thing. So I think if we can take advantage of that and create those turnovers, then I think we have a chance to shock everyone who no one is taking the Steelers over the Bills. But obviously, I'm no idiot. I don't expect us to make it out of the first round, so I'm also taking the Bills. So, but I'm taking the Bills in hopes that they even shock me and Steelers actually win. So but I'm taking the Bills.
I don't know. I mean, as I always say, you can't always, believe every source that you read on the internet and everything like that. But I did come across a little article that a decision will be made by 5 p.m. tomorrow night as far as what they're going to do.
Yeah, because they have to give the fans time.
Yeah. So 5 p.m.
I
tomorrow.
feel like they would move it to Monday night. We'll have a doubleheader Monday night is what I feel is going to happen.
See, and I honestly, I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, you have 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday, 2 games on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Like,
I would say they can even play earlier in the day because it is a holiday.
Yeah, they can have a 4:00 game and then an 8:00 game.
Yeah,
Oof, Monday's gonna be rough for me.
I mean, they did it on Christmas Day.
Yeah, they did.
1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can see it happening.
And what they could do is if they had to move the Tampa Bay Philly game to 4 o'clock, and that will give them a little more time to clean things up, and they could be in the 8 o'clock spot.
Yeah, I can see it happening. But then Sunday afternoon we have the Packers at the Cowboys. So what do we think? Who are we taking, Packers or the Cowboys? Mike, you want to start this one? Packers or Cowboys?
Oh man, yes I do. I will say this: we know the Cowboys' track record when it comes to playing the Packers in Dallas in the playoffs, but there's a little bit of a difference.
No Aaron Rodgers.
It's Jordan Love's show now. But Jordan Love, he goes from a hot start the first 2 weeks, and then he kind of has a little bit of a decline. The rumors of he's on the hot seat as a quarterback. He's got to at least get this team to the playoffs in order to, keep his position. There could be possibilities of trading him, releasing him, all this stuff. There's so much going on. This kid, he's been in the league for 3 years. This is his first year starting.
Mm-hmm.
I always say it that I cannot rank a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback in their first at least 4 seasons. I need to see that quarterback play every team in the league at least once.
Yeah.
So I can give a full assessment. I don't even have a full assessment on Jalen yet. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I can't sit here and say, oh, he's an elite quarterback. No. But I'll say this. I think Jordan Love can take the Packers into Dallas and give Dallas their first loss in their stadium this year. I think they can. That's why I'm going with the Packers in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and it's not just because I'm an Eagles fan and I don't like Dallas. I think the Packers can go into Dallas and beat Dallas. I do. This is gonna come down to a 1-possession game. It is. It's going to come down to a 1-possession game. And the big test for Jordan Love is the question has lied all week is Can Jordan Love hang with Dak Prescott? Can he, go toe to toe with him, neck to neck? I think he can.
Yeah.
I honestly think he can. Because if Dak Prescott had a harder schedule than he had this year, I don't think he'd be in the MVP talk.
Mm-mm.
Because face it, Dallas did not have a hard schedule this year. They didn't. So I think Green Bay can go in. I think they could take down the Cowboys. I got Green Bay in this game.
Scalz?
Well, I'm a Giants fan. So I'm coming from the same sense of urgency as Mike over there. It does not help that my brother is a Cowboys fan.
Oh boy.
Of course. I have to hit him more. Now, don't get me wrong. Dak had a great year. CeeDee Lamb had an amazing year. But Green Bay has gotten a lot of hate at the early start of the season because Love was replacing Rodgers. Will he be able to stand up to it? And they were like, well, who's he throwing to? He has all these nobodies. Yeah, but those nobodies turned into something because you have Watson. You have Wicks, and they're doing great. And I think that the Green Bay is going to give them a run for their money. Unfortunately, I don't think the Cowboys are going to choke this year, at least not in this round. I think they're making it past Green Bay, only to get destroyed next round and then choke out from there because they don't go past the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Jamey?
Green Bay will get back to where they need to be. They're young. They have time. They're just not established enough yet. The Cowboys don't have they don't have many opportunities to get this right, and they're going to advance, and they're going to come crashing down again. But they will win this football game. But I think the Dak Prescott Dallas Cowboys experience, I don't think it's going to be for much longer. But this year, it's going to be a little bit longer, just a little bit.
So I'm already biased in this because I don't like the Cowboys. I think it's like a favorite time of the postseason when if the Cowboys do make the postseason to just see them choke because it's hilarious. And to see Stephen A. clown them is just absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. He's the clown himself. He can't clown anybody else anymore.
It's just funny to me.
He's gotten so ridiculous lately. Like he's turned himself into a clown.
He's ridiculous. He's absolutely ridiculous.
He's trying to get them Shannon Sharp ratings, No,
he's turning into Skip Bayless.
Oh my gosh.
Who's another one that I can't stand. That's why they were perfect together on First Take. Because they're both alike.
I didn't like Stephen A. after they got rid of Max Kellerman, but
he's the reason Max Kellerman's gone. So.
Mm-hmm.
But sorry, I'm gonna oh no, you're good. But no, I'm definitely taking the Packers. I think a lot of people kind of underestimated my man Jordan Love. I knew Jordan Love was great. I mean, just from the little bit I did see from him, when he was backup quarterback before he was, the legit starter for the Packers. And I was like, man, this guy's gonna be something great, I think. Mm-hmm. They struggled a little bit this year, but again, like I said, they're having this kind of it's not a hard reset for the Packers, but it's kind of this soft reset. Their franchise quarterback Aaron Rodgers is no longer there. So again, it's going to take some time to put together the right pieces. And I think they'll be great. And I think the mistake for the Packers after this season, win or lose this game, I think would be to just get yet another quarterback, because I think Jordan Love, is the answer for them right now, at least short term if
Yes.
they don't decide to stay with him and they decide to move on. But I think Jordan Love has arrived, and I think he's the answer for the Packers. So I'm taking the Packers in this. Obviously, like I said, the Cowboys when it's game time and the lights are shining bright, they don't show up. So you can expect them to make some goofy play that costs them the game again, like they always do. So yeah, I'm definitely taking the Packers.
I hope you're right.
The one thing that the Packers do, and it's been known in history. You look at you go back and look at the Packers history. The one thing the Packers are good at doing is when they lose a position guy, they'll fill that position promptly. Okay, so they exit Aaron Rodgers, insert Jordan Love. Jordan Love did the same thing Aaron Rodgers did, just not as long. Aaron Rodgers sat behind Favre for 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Okay, Love only sat behind Rodgers for 2.
Yeah.
Okay. They have a very good knack for doing that. It would not surprise me if the Packers would draft a quarterback maybe in the later rounds, but it's not going to be a quarterback that's going to come in and compete for that job. This is the Jordan Love show in Green Bay. It is. And it's going to be the Jordan Love show for a while. It's going to
I don't
That's-
think that they do that yet, just because Love's only been there for a few seasons. They didn't do that with Rodgers until he got near the end of his career, and look how that hurt their relationship. So I think that they would bring somebody in as a backup.
Yeah.
Someone like Sam Darnold, he's a free
Mhm.
agent. Someone like
Mariota,
Tannehill, something along those lines,
I think
to help Love get better.
Mariota's done. He's cooked.
I honestly see. I was just about to say Mariota resigns with Philly and stays as a backup there.
it's
I mean,
possible.
I can see that
being in
too.
Philly. He loves being in Philly.
Yeah.
He does.
It's all about what is going on right there for him at this point, and Philly's the safe choice.
It probably depends if Sirianni is still there or not.
And the thing about Jordan Love and Green Bay in that situation, Aaron Rodgers, everyone knows, is my favorite player. And seeing how Green Bay handles their QBs, once they have their guy and they're like, this is our QB1, they stick by their guy. And they will for a long time until they absolutely prove that, hey, he can't be the guy. So to show the confidence even from this first season that they're like, hey, we chose Jordan Love. We knew he was going to be our guy, and he's going to be our guy for the long run. And I appreciate Green Bay doing that because Jordan Love is good. And I think if they give him, the confidence and the right pieces around him and try to, not do the complete opposite that they did with Rodgers, but be like, hey, this is how our relationship with Rodgers didn't go. But let's, do just a few things differently. But also you have that young team that can build around, and you got some cap space. You can bring in some pieces. I think Green Bay, not in the 2 or 3, but say in the next 4 to 5 years, could really be a player in this league.
Well, they played it smart too. I mean, they just re-upped Rashawn Gary at the linebacker position. Super smart to do because that guy he's a beast. He is a freaking beast. But I mean, they're the youngest team in the league.
Yeah,
age-wise, they are the youngest. And like Scalz said, they took guys that were nobodies and turned them into somebodies.
Yes.
I mean, Dobbs, Watson, 2 receivers that just exploded. The one position that they really didn't highlight that you've seen normally highlighted in the Aaron Rodgers day was the tight end position.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the tight end position is this season has not really been, it was there, but it wasn't there at the same time. I mean, Travis Kelce's numbers were down. Kittle's numbers were down.
You're missing the person who had the breakout season as a tight end, Evan Ingram.
Laporta, if anything.
Laporta and Ingram.
Yeah.
And when you have a team,
even Njoku had a hell of a season.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a team that young, you don't have a 40-year-old quarterback in there to lead them. You just don't.
But like Scalz said, like they can go out and pick up a free agent quarterback. If they were to decide not to do that and they did draft, like I said, like a later round guy, like a guy that's sitting there, in the 6th round, that's from, fucking South Dakota or something like that, South Dakota State, whatever, like a quarterback that's just going to come in and be there if they need him to go in because, Jordan Love may have gotten hurt or something like that. Like, it's not going to be a guy that's going to compete.
No, but also another option if you're wanting to bring in some mentorship and some veteran presence, you bring in a journeyman guy, a guy obviously isn't going to be a starter in the league, but someone that's been there and been on winning teams.
I mean, I could definitely agree with the Sam Darnold thing. I mean, he sat behind Brock Purdy this year. He was on a successful team. We've seen him come in back in the Ravens game and had one successful drive. I mean, I know it was a successful drive, but I mean, Sam Darnold, he's still kind of young too.
Yeah,
Sam Darnold hasn't been around for a long time, but he could still be a guy that's can say, "Hey, I was in a bad system, and I was in a good system, and this is the differences." He could break that stuff down for him.
Or you could even say, a guy like Brandon, Fayetteville legend, behind guys like Joe T. and even Matt Stafford, and even behind guys like Jared Goff, winning pro.
Yeah.
Jamey was cutting in and out.
Yeah, you were sounding robotic there. But anyways, moving on to the next game. We have for Sunday night, 8 p.m.
You took Packers. That's right.
Yeah, I took the Packers. But for Sunday night game, we have the Rams at the Lions. So this is a to me this is the most interesting game, interesting matchup of wildcard weekend because obviously the trade that happened a few seasons ago, Stafford going to the Rams and Jared Goff going to the Lions. So it's the battle of the former teams. But what do we think, guys? Who are we taking, the Rams or the Lions? I'm going to start with Jamey.
Give me the Lions. The rest, they always have, and I think they're going to get the NFC Championship. I think that highly Lions, and Campbell is that guy. Jared Goff has came into his own and has proved outers and the haters. And that team has just been very consistent, and I think they'll do solid enough.
Absolutely. Scalz.
This is Stafford's first time back to
Ford
Field in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I think the return is going to be too big for him. The Lions have been playing great. Laporta has been having a great year. Jameel Gibbs has been having a great year. Goff has been amazing. I don't think anything is stopping the Lions against this Rams team. I know the Rams have a lot of weapons with Cooper Kupp and Nakua. But if you contain one of them, they're not doing anything else against you because they don't have a running game. Like, it's just, you take out one of those two. If you focus on Nakua and you neutralize him, it's a wrap for this game. And I just think that Goff is going to go off and he's going to prove to the Rams that you never should have traded me.
I don't even think you go that far with neutralizing Kupp and Nakua. I think, if you just overwhelmed Stafford, I think it's pretty much a wrap. Because if he can't get in that pocket and throw to those weapons, I think it's pretty much a wrap. Because as far as I know, he's not like a runner. He's not that mobile. So I think if you neutralize Stafford, I think it's a wrap. But Mike, what do you think, Rams or the Lions?
So there's one guy that you guys are forgetting about. The Rams do have another weapon, and that is the rookie running back, Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams has had a hell of a season. Yeah, he was out a couple weeks with injury, but he is back running hard. He had over 200 rushing yards in his first game back, and since then it's just taken off. I think he's going to be a huge difference maker in this game. I'm proud of the Lions for what they've done. I think this stage may overwhelm them a little bit in this game. The first half is going to be a struggle for them, and I feel like the second half they'll come into it, but it may be if the Rams get off and running and put points on the board, if they're up by at least 2 touchdowns going into the second half, the Lions may have a little bit of trouble coming back from it. If the Lions can keep the Rams within, let's say, 7 points going into halftime, and they get their wits together and say, okay, guys, you know what? You know, the lights are big. This is a big stage. You know, we get it. And they calm themselves down, then they'll have their opportunity to put the hook in the mouth and say, okay, this is our game. You're in our house. This is a tough matchup. It is. And a very hard one to pick at that. But I feel like the Rams are going to come in and win this one. I think I think Kyron Williams is going to be that difference. So I'm going with the Rams on this one.
Okay. This is a difficult prediction right here. I agree with Mike right there. Got two. You got one great team, and you got another team that's they've seen better days.
The Rams have been hot as of late.
They've been hot as of late. But I think, if compared to last year they were like crazy good. But I think this is an interesting, very interesting matchup. Obviously, I feel like coming out of the gate, I'm talking first half, I think the Rams will overwhelm the Lions, just because of how good their offense is. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. So I feel like they're going to overwhelm them first half. Going into the second half, though, I think the Lions are going to wake up, and I feel like they're going to take over this game. And I could see Jared Goff going off and just picking apart the Rams defense all the entire second half. So I'm taking the Lions. I think the Lions, they've worked hard. They've gotten here. Jared Goff has something to prove. They're in their home arena. This is their house, and I don't think they're going out like that at all. Out of the shocking year, because no one expected. I don't think the Lions to have the year they've had this year. So I don't think they've come this far to losing out. So I'm taking the Lions.
So I have a little counter argument to Mike over there.
Okay.
Tell me the team that's given up the second fewest rushing yards in the league for this season.
The second fewest rushing yards this season?
Yep. Without looking it up, who do you think that team is?
Hey, hands off.
No, I'm just saying, without looking up, who do you think that team is?
Oh, it's definitely the Lions.
Right.
Yeah.
They've given up 1,509 yards all year in the running position.
Mm-hmm.
They have probably the fourth lowest average in yards per carry. The Rams gave up 1,800 yards this season. So if the Rams are going to want to beat the Lions, it's not going to be with the run. Because the front four for the Lions is amazing with Aiden Hutchinson in there.
Oh, yeah.
And you're forgetting that key difference with this running game.
But
while Williams had a phenomenal year getting over 1,100 yards, almost 1,200, the Giants only allowed him to 80-something. The Giants only allowed him to 80-something yards in his last game of the season. And the Giants gave up the fourth most rushing yards in the entire year.
I will say this, though. The Rams have experience. The Lions are just getting a taste. The playoffs are a whole different monster. It's a new season.
I will agree with that.
Everybody is 0-0. So that's why I said this is a hard matchup to pick from. And if the Lions do not have their heads on straight, if they let the lights get to them too big in the first half and they don't hold the Rams under or at least at 7 points, the second half, it may come down to a little too late. I'm not counting the Lions out. Not at all. I'm taking the Rams based on the experience. Kyron Williams having a hell of a year. Stafford has been on this stage before. I'm taking the Rams on the experience level. By all means, I'm not counting the Lions out because the Lions have had a phenomenal season. They have a phenomenal team. And like I said earlier in the show, that the Lions are one of the teams that I said were going to be a team on the up the last 2 years. And they have been. Because last year they went 9-8, missed the playoffs. This year they win their division the first time in 30 years. My initial, and I asked my cousin this a couple weeks ago. He's an Eagles fan too. I said, take the Eagles and the Chiefs out of the playoffs. Go back to the old system where it was 6 teams and not 7. Who do you got, going all the way to the end? And he gave me some bullcrap answer. I was like, be real, But I ultimately said I had the Ravens and the Texans making to the AFC title game. Texans winning. I had the Lions and the Rams making it to the NFC title game. And I had the Lions winning. So I had the Lions and Texans making it to the end. That's why I'm not counting the Lions out, but they need to not let this stage get to them because of the inexperience.
I agree with that. But, gentlemen, the last game for Super Wildcard Weekend is the Eagles at the Buccaneers. Mike, I'm going to start with you since you are an Eagles fan. You're probably picking
me last. I was hoping you picked me last.
First.
Man. So, 5 of our last 6. I will say this. The Buccaneers have had an up and down season. Just like anybody in the NFC South. Up and down season. Minus the Panthers, 3 out of those 4 teams came down till last week. Falcons had a chance. Saints had a chance. Bucs ultimately got it. The Eagles had the East in their hands all the way up until that Niners game. Something happened after that Niners game. And it sucks being a fan and not knowing what that is. A lot of people want to point the fingers at the coaching. A lot of people want to point the fingers at, the players. A lot of people want to point the fingers at this and that. It's ultimately, if the Eagles are not in that locker room, let's say Sunday. I know the game's Monday. But if they're not in that locker room Sunday, hashing out anything that needs to be hashed out, airing their grievances or whatever the hell is going on, they're going to walk out of this game losers. They are. Because the Buccaneers seem to have, and excuse my language, they seem to have their shit together right now. The Eagles don't. With that being said, I think the Eagles can go into Tampa and win this game. It's going to be tough to do. It's going to be a hard thing to do with the way things are going right now. It's definitely going to be close. I have to go with the Eagles on this one. I do. It would be wrong of me to sit here and say Tampa Bay. I'm not counting Tampa Bay out, just like I'm not counting the Lions out. But it would be wrong of me to sit here and say Tampa Bay. I have to go with the Eagles on this one, but it's going to be super close. This is going to come down to one possession, and it's going to come down to whoever scores last. That's what it's going to come down to. But I have to. I have so much more I could sit here and say, but I don't want to take up too much time. I don't. So I'll save it. I'll save it until Sunday morning.
To piggyback off of what Mike said, he said something happened after the San Francisco game. The coach lost the locker room. That's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
The players no longer believe in Nick Sirianni. And it shows with the way they've played after that. that's the way I look at it with this team. Is the coach lost the locker room, and no matter what I think what happens this weekend, whether they win or lose, if they don't win the Super Bowl this year, Sirianni will be looking for a new job.
Mm-hmm.
So I said Super Bowl or bust.
Because that team lost the locker room. Maybe even if he wins it, he's still not there anymore. Just because of the pure talent that this team does have. Mike, do you know the status of AJ Brown?
I know he's a game time right now.
And what about Hurts' thumb, his finger?
He was throwing with it very minimal at practice today. So
Okay.
he said it's getting better, but it's not 100%.
Right. So all it's going to take is one hit on Monday night, and then they'll be putting in putting in Mariota, and then the game is over.
Mariota ain't touching that field.
If his finger is broken and he can't throw, he absolutely will be.
He'll tape it up and stay in.
Yet he gave up on his team against the Giants because the defense couldn't stop the Giants' offense, which is the worst in the league.
Actually, Sirianni pulled everybody because of that score.
Yeah, because his defense couldn't stop the worst scoring team in the league. And you're expecting them to be able to go up against Tampa and put up a fight?
They also lost.
This team stopped playing for Sirianni. I don't think there's any way they beat them this week. I have Tampa Bay going over.
You had to throw the Jets game in my face, really?
Sorry.
That was like week 4, week 5, 10.
Yeah, the Giants also lost to the Jets, which was bullshit. They should never have.
With the Coug Hunter.
And just like the Giants lost to the Bills because of the refs. So there's a lot of what ifs that happened this season that could have changed around a lot of teams' seasons.
And like I said, though, I'm not counting the Bucs. I can't count the Bucs out, and I'm just saying it would be wrong of me to pick the Bucs to win this game. I'm not saying the Bucs can't win this game. Seriously, I'm not sitting here saying that. It would just be wrong of me not to pick the Eagles this week.
Right.
It would be. It would just be. Let's just put it this way: if I were to pick the Bucs to win this game, then I might as well just get rid of all my Eagle shit.
It'd be sacrilegious.
That's not true. I picked the Giants. I picked against the Giants a lot during our predictions this year, and it got me a bunch of wins.
But in my predictions, I picked the Eagles 17 weeks. 17.
Well, you're not a smart man. I can't help you with that.
No.
Well, when it comes to this game, I'm picking really based off of bias. I'm not even gonna lie to you. My boy Baker Mayfield has had a career resurgence this year, and he's going to cap that off with a win in the playoffs, and he's going to get that contract. The Eagles, I was going to pick the Eagles, but to win the whole thing. But after the San Fran game, no. But I got the Bucs, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the Bucs too. I had the Eagles going all the way because they were looking really good at first, and then it was just like, again, I don't know. Again, Scalz says it's a coaching thing. The team just stopped playing for the coach. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not in that locker room. I'm not on the field with those guys. So I don't know if it's a coaching thing or if it's a confidence thing for the Eagles. But it's obvious that they've lost something that they originally had, and that's a problem. And then of course we got the injuries and things like that, like Jalen Hurts and his finger injury. So that's kind of concerning. But yeah, I'm taking the Bucs. I think the Bucs definitely come out of this one and pretty much shock everybody because again, like I said, I think a lot of people. Baker Mayfield has done something that I think a lot of people didn't expect, and he was a lot better than a lot of people expected him to be, me included, because I didn't know what to expect from Baker Mayfield being on the Bucs.
As a fan, I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, for sure. So, so I definitely see Baker Mayfield earning himself a contract and win himself a playoff game against the Eagles.
I'll say this: I am a fan of Baker Mayfield. I like Baker Mayfield. I've liked him since he's been in the league. I have. I mean, I've even had him and Jalen. I mean, Jalen was my starter on my fantasy team, but I made sure to have Baker Mayfield as a backup.
Yeah.
You know, I originally drafted Matthew Stafford, but in week 1, I dropped him and I picked up Baker Mayfield. I was like, it'd be smart for me to pick him up. And he did good for me the week that I had to have him in because of the bye week. He did. He didn't score more points than Jalen all season. Jalen got me some of the points that I needed, you know, but he was good to have in my back pocket just in case. But it's just first I just can't. I can't go against the Eagles this week. I can't. I need to stick with them. I need to pick them. You know,
That's your right as a fan. We understand.
I have to. And the thing is if things, you know, you look at it how things could fall. I mean, if the Rams were to beat the Lions, the Rams would head to San Francisco. And if the Eagles beat the Bucks, and you know, yeah, if the Packers won, the Packers would head to San Francisco. If the Eagles would beat the Bucks, and oh my God, what's our other matchup? I forgot. I'm drawing a blank. The
Cowboys, Packers.
I got the Cowboys, Packers. Packers. If the Packers would beat the Cowboys, Packers would head to San Francisco.
Right.
And then the Eagles play the Bucks. And
Rams, Lions.
Rams, Lions. Yeah. So if the Eagles were to beat the Bucks and the Rams were to beat the Lions, the Eagles would be hosting the Rams.
Yep.
You know, so the Eagles can end up having a home playoff game.
So you need three upsets in order to get the Eagles to have a home game.
Good luck.
And here's the other thing, real quick before we go. The other thing is a lot of everybody's saying the Chiefs are going to have to play on the road in the playoffs. You guys know that can actually not happen. So
yeah, if the Bills lose,
so if the Bills were to lose to the Steelers would play the Ravens.
Right, and if the Steelers beat the Ravens, then the Chiefs become the home team the rest of the way.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, because if the Steelers were to win against the Bills, Steelers would go to the Ravens. The Chiefs were to win, and then they would host either the Texans or the Browns. And then if the Chiefs win and the Steelers end up upsetting the Ravens, Chiefs are home again. But a lot of people that I've been hearing, I'm not
a lot of what ifs in these scenarios.
Well, I'm not saying you guys. I'm just saying I've been hearing people say all week, like, "Oh, the Chiefs are going to have to play on the road." We don't know that yet.
Well, that's because they're expecting Buffalo to win.
Yeah,
and they're expecting the Ravens to win, no matter who they play. Because right now, the Ravens are the odds-on favorite to make it out of the AFC.
It's theirs to lose.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
that's
I hope not.
That's why I said that they're the odds-on favorite to make it out of the AFC. I think it's San Francisco's to lose.
No, I'm saying out of the AFC.
I don't think anybody can beat San Francisco with that high-powered offense.
No.
You're going to need a phenomenal defense, and while the Ravens do have that, I just don't know if their offense would be high-powered enough to beat San Francisco's defense, because San Francisco's defense is equal to the Ravens.
My big thing, and I said it after that Ravens-Niners game, if you go back and watch the offensive line for San Francisco, it collapsed. And
they didn't have Trent Williams in that game.
And it's just like the Ravens did something to overtake that offensive line. 49ers aren't going to let that happen again if that matchup happens. If it ends up being the 49ers and Ravens, the 49ers are not going to let that happen again.
No, Shanahan is one of the best coaches to recover from defeats like that. He has a great way of looking at the film and getting his players prepared for the second opportunity against the team. So that's why I think if they make it there, it's 49ers to lose in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to take out the Ravens, please. God, I do not want to see that. I do not want the Ravens.
That's coming from a Steelers fan.
Jesus Christ.
I'll say this. I have a feeling the Ravens losing the division round. I do.
I hope you're right.
I have a feeling the Ravens losing the division round.
It all depends on who they play.
Well, I mean, if the Bills end up winning, then they're going to end up. Well, yeah, it all depend. It does depend because if the Bills beat the Steelers,
Right.
Then
I'll pick KC now it's because they play. But
yeah, the Ravens would
then
still.
it's the winner of the other game.
Yeah, I mean they'll play the lowest seed remaining.
Right.
So, I mean, we'll know by. We might know as soon as no, not tomorrow.
Mhm.
Yeah, we would know as soon as tomorrow. I gotta pull up the schedule again.
No.
I don't have the schedule in front of me. I gotta pull up the schedule.
No, because Pittsburgh is 1:00 on Sunday.
Okay, so
Mike,
For now.
Pittsburgh is 1:00 on Sunday, so there
Yeah.
would be no way.
So we won't
We
know
know
until
tomorrow.
4:00 on Sunday. Because the AFC, they did it in the order of the AFC. We're seeing the AFC play first in the first 3 games, and then the NFC takes over the rest of the weekend. And that's
so
pending,
weird.
that's pending on the decision of the Steelers Bills scheduling now.
Right.
That's so weird that they did the scheduling that way.
Yeah, because usually they flop it around. Like we would get one AFC game, one
2
NFC.
a day.
Yeah.
Right, you get one of each a day.
Mm-hmm. So,
But all right, gentlemen, that's all I got for you.
All right. Anything else before everyone sign off tonight?
No, not really.
I think that's it.
All right. Mike, where can we find you?
at Metal Mike 714 all across the socials, anywhere and everywhere. X, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. As far as show wise, you can catch me every Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Movie Madness. Every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. with Johnny H on Rivet City Red Zone. We'll be definitely talking about more playoff talk and coaching carousel and college football stuff going on. I know there's very little college to talk about, but still have some college football and some UFL stuff. And then Table Spot. New spot Monday nights, right after Monday Night Raw at 11 p.m. with Cam and Sean. And yeah.
Righteous.
Jamey?
Man, you can find me on all my platforms at Jamey Rose X. Don't forget the X. I am the color commentator for Diamond State Wrestling, so if you want to check that out, you can find us on YouTube and at your local show. And you can find me whenever I'm pulling a Roman Reigns and it show up eventually on whatever Rivet City Radio and Off the Top's doing, because I am the one. But for all that fun being said, man, I'm happy to be back in the saddle tonight. It was very fun. I had the itch, and I love doing this with you guys, and I'm glad to have the opportunity to be the ultimate friend of Rivet City and Off the Top. So
I do have one more spot.
hit it.
Also, Halftime Heat.
Yes.
I record the first episode dropped on. We dropped it on Wednesday, right?
Wednesday,
Yeah, dropped it on Wednesday. So I do. I'm going to be recording Halftime Heat every Tuesday. You're going to be dropping that on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that's going to be the schedule. Okay, so it's just a short 15-minute show of any news that comes out of Sunday afternoon, Monday, and early Tuesday. It's a 15-minute episode for Halftime Heat.
Nice.
Cam?
So you can find me on my TikTok pages right there in the chat. But you can find me right here every single Friday night with Friday Night Review, going over sports, going over wrestling. Every single Friday night with, of course, Jamey and Scalz for Friday Night Review right here on Off the Top Media. You can find me now on Mondays with this guy right above me and Alpha Wolf Sean on Monday nights, immediately following Monday Night Raw for the Table Spot. And of course, you can find me on Wednesday nights on Rivet City Radio with The Boom. Season 2 will be starting up really soon. We got a new logo, we got a new backdrop, we got a new intro coming. So all new things coming for the product on The Boom every single Wednesday night following AEW Dynamite. You can find me on Twitter, X at CamandCheese317. And if that does not sizzle your bacon, you can find me on Instagram at 317 Bacon, Eggs, and Cam.
All right. So I'm Scalz. You can find me here on Off the Top on both Twitch and YouTube. You can find me on Off the Top Media _ on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Right down below, you see the merch top scrolling across the bottom. That's where you can find merchandise for Off the Top, bot spots, and chair shots, and many of our hosts that have merchandise. It's all on there. One stop shop. Make sure you guys check it out. Got hats, t-shirts, stickers, cups, duffel bags, whatever you want. We got a lot of it. Make sure to check it out. Then you can catch me on NXT on Tap on Tuesdays at 10:15 p.m. And then, like what Cam and Jamey had said, Friday Night Review, usually right after SmackDown. Was a little bit earlier tonight because we were supposed to have what I normally do on Saturday nights tonight, and that would be at 10 p.m. on Saturday nights. It's Ringside Chatter. It is a hockey podcast with myself, Shadow, and Dusty. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, do all that thing. Help us get our show out there, spread the news, and we'll catch you again soon. Have a great evening, guys.
Go Leafs, go.